My name is Elias, and I think I've been dead for 3 weeks, though the clock on the wall of this guard shack insists it's only been 4 hours since my shift started. I'm writing this down because my memory is starting to feel like a moth-eaten sweater, and I need a record of what happened before the last few threads pull apart. If you're reading this, don't look for the facility. Don't check the job boards for Site 42 Logistical Oversight. Just keep scrolling. 3 months ago, I was at the end of my rope. I was 24, living in a basement apartment in Seattle that smelled like damp cardboard and failed dreams. I had a degree in philosophy that was about as useful as a screen door on a submarine, and about $14 to my name. Then I saw the ad on a deep web forum I'd been browsing during a bout of insomnia. It was simple: night shift security, $8,500 per month. Housing provided. No experience necessary. Must be comfortable with total silence. I thought it was a scam, or maybe a front for something illegal. But at that point, I would have guarded a pile of burning tires for half that amount. I emailed the address provided. An hour later, a man named Mr. Vance called me. His voice sounded like it was coming from the bottom of a well, hollow, resonant, and entirely too calm. He didn't ask about my background or my criminal record. He only asked one thing: Elias, do you have anyone who will miss you if you stop answering your phone for a year? I looked around my empty apartment, at the stack of unpaid bills and the single dead succulent on my windowsill. No, I said. No one. Perfect, Vance replied. A car will be at your door at midnight. The drive was 10 hours of darkness. The driver didn't speak once. We left the city, left the highways, eventually left the paved roads altogether. We ended up in the high desert, miles from the nearest town. A massive concrete structure stood there, like a windowless skyscraper buried halfway into the earth. There were no signs, no logos, just a single steel door and a keypad. Vance was waiting there. He was taller than he'd sounded, dressed in a suit that looked like it cost more than my entire education. He handed me a keycard, a flashlight, and a thick, leather-bound manual. Your job is simple, Elias, he said, leading me inside. The air was freezing and smelled like ozone and old paper. This is a repository, he said. We store things here that shouldn't be moved, and we certainly don't want them found. You will stay in the guard shack at the center of level 1. You will watch the monitors. Every hour on the hour, you will walk the perimeter of the Great Hall. If you hear a sound, you ignore it. If you see something in the shadows, you look away. And most importantly, you never, ever open the crates on level 4. I asked him what was in the crates. He just looked at me with eyes that seemed to have no pupils. Expectations, he said. Now get to work. The first month was boring. Mind-numbingly, soul-crushingly boring. The facility was a labyrinth of concrete corridors and vast, echoing chambers. They were filled with wooden crates, steel drums, and rows upon rows of filing cabinets. My housing was a small room attached to the guard shack. It had a bed, a small kitchen, and a shelf of books written in languages I didn't recognize. I spent my nights walking the perimeter, my flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. The silence was heavy, not just the absence of noise, but a physical weight pressing against my eardrums. I started talking to myself just to hear a human voice. I narrated my walks, described the crates, recapped movie plots I'd already seen a dozen times. But around the 6-week mark, things started to shift. It began with the whispers. At first, I thought it was the ventilation system. A low huffing sound cycling through the halls. Then I started hearing names. My name, Elias. It wasn't a shout. It was a sigh, like someone exhaling my name into the back of my neck. I'd spin around, flashlight raised. There was never anyone there, just endless rows of crates and cold, gray concrete. I told myself it was the isolation. People go crazy in solitary confinement, right? Then came the visuals. I'd be sitting in the guard shack, staring at the grainy black and white monitors. On camera 7, I'd see a figure move, tall, spindly, moving with a jerky, unnatural gait, like a marionette with tangled strings. It would linger at the edge of the frame, then vanish. Whenever I went to investigate, there was nothing, just dust. The turning point was last Tuesday. I was doing my 3 a.m. round when I noticed a door at the end of the north corridor. A door I'd never seen before. It wasn't on the map. It was heavy, rusted iron with a sliding viewport. Curiosity is dangerous when you're bored, and I'm a very curious person. I slid the port open and shone my light inside. It wasn't a storage room. It was a nursery. There were dozens of cribs, lined up in perfect rows. But there were no babies. Inside each crib was a clock, hundreds of them, ticking in perfect, terrifying unison. The sound was like a swarm of insects. I watched them mesmerized. Then I saw the nameplates: Sarah Miller, Marcus Thorne, Leo Sullivan, and there, in the corner near the back, Elias Thorne. My heart hammered. I don't have a middle name, or at least I didn't think I did. I stepped into the room. The ticking grew louder, more aggressive. I reached the clock with my name on it. It wasn't ticking like the others. It was slowing down. The pendulum dragged like the air had turned to molasses. I touched the glass. The ticking stopped. All of it. The silence that followed felt like a scream. I slammed the door shut and ran. I didn't do another round that night. I sat in the guard shack, clutching the manual, waiting for morning. The sun never came up. The digital clock said 8 a.m., then 9 a.m., then 10 a.m. The light never changed. The landline answered with a woman weeping in a language like birdsong. The keypad was gone. The door was gone. Just concrete. That was 3 days ago. Or 3 years. Time stopped working. I went to level 4. The walls were soft, warm, like skin. The crates vibrated, leaked. The largest one was made of bone. Inside was me, older, white-haired. I sewn shut. He gave me the jar, the light, the truth. Now I sit here. The jar is fading. Something is outside. I see him, the new Elias, young, desperate. I can't move. I know why Vance asked. I'm not a guard. I'm a battery. My clock is here now. The pendulum slows. Everything is okay. That was my last lie. The door is opening. The man isn't Vance. He's ink. He's paper. Welcome to level 5, Elias. I am no longer a man. I am a record. I begin to write. My name is Elias, and I am the truth that the world forgot. The ticking continues. We are eternal, and we are always hiring.